Sup? What do we think? Glasses on, sunglasses off. I think we'll try glasses on. It matches the new profile picture. Let's give it a try. Also, what I'm using to hold my microphone is a back scratcher here. You can see the little hand. There we go. That is the spot. Hey you, it's me Emerson. Numberjacks, we all remember that show, right? There's two types of people in this world. Those who have successfully managed to block the Numberjacks out of their existence, and those who are still visited by the Numbertaker all these years later. Look at him. Isn't that just the most terrifying man you've ever seen in your whole life? The show scared the shit out of me as a kid, but I watched it for a bit, even if it didn't make me uncomfortable, until one day, one single day, where I watched one episode, and that episode was enough to make me say, nope, I'm not watching the show anymore, but we'll get to that later. So let's take a little trip back down memory lane and take a look at the absolute horror show that is the Numberjacks.
What is going on here?
So if you're not British or Gen Z, you probably have no idea what the hell I'm talking about when I say Numberjacks, and you're very lucky. The episode starts with the characters hanging out inside a sofa. Yeah, that's right, I said inside a sofa. They live in a sofa. And they're trying to solve some sort of problem. It's usually a maths-related problem. Sometimes it can be like observation or logic-based as well, but they don't actually manage to solve the problem right away because they get a call from these human agent children who I am not convinced are not being held against their will. Hey, if you're in trouble, blink 3 times and we will come and rescue you, we promise. So some really random problem is happening in the outside world, and the Numberjacks talk amongst themselves like,
hey guys, some random kid's toy car stopped working. Who's gonna go out and fix this snotty-nosed cunt's cheap plastic toy for free?
And the problem in question is usually caused by one of these guys, the Meanies. Trust me, we will get back to the Meanies, I promise. So the Meanies just go around wreaking havoc on whatever the hell they can find, so the Numberjacks have to sort it out. And they do that by sending this stuff. This is called the brain gain, and that weird octopus-looking thing is one of the most terrifying things I've ever seen. It seems to have a mind of its own. It could just do its own, like, choreographed dance.
Brain gain to solve the problem. Use our brains. No way to get your brains all linking up together. Joined up thinking.
I don't know what the hell that was. So the Numberjacks send out the brain gain, and the problem that they have to solve in the real world is usually in some way tied to the problem from the very start of the episode. So they come home and they use the solution that they use to solve the problem in the outside world to save the problem back home inside the sofa, and then the episode ends. American people, if you've ever seen Special Agent Oso, it's sort of like that show. Also, I'm afraid to say that it wasn't until I first started learning Spanish that I found out why that show was actually called Special Agent Oso. Oso is bear in Spanish, apparently. Hey, if you're still watching, why not like, comment, share, and subscribe? I'm a small channel and it helps greatly. Back to the video. I think we need to talk about the animation and voice acting of this show because both sort of play a pretty big role into why the show was as creepy as it was. Okay, first of all, this character design. These are 3D renders of numbers with faces. They should not be as scary as they are, but yet they are. They have just these huge eyes with very limited ranges of motion that just stare into your soul. I believe it was Hermione Granger who once said, "You've got the emotional range of a teaspoon." Well, the Numberjacks have the emotional range of a toothpick. Look at their faces. They have such limited ranges of facial expression. Their eyes are just huge, almost unblinking, and they stare into your soul, especially when they look directly at the camera. Like, they get right up close to you just like that, and it's weird. Why? Who signed off on this? This is awful. The way the characters moved as well was just really, really uncomfortable. Like, they just hop up and down and they make this like whooshing sound. And it's the fact they sort of move at the same continuous speed as well. Even when they're being chased, they only fractionally move faster than their normal speed. It's kind of hypnotic in a way, and I just don't like it. The voice acting as well from our heroes, not the villains. The villain voice acting is actually pretty good, but our hero's voice acting, that is not good. Like, listen to this.
Whoa! Wow!
Yeah!
Did you enjoy that?
There is so little passion and so little soul in almost all of the voice acting that it actually sounds like it's AI generated. I wouldn't be surprised if this show was still being made in the year of our Lord 2025 that it actually used AI voice acting because, like you've just seen, it sounds awful. It's not even voice acting.
Who are you people?
I should probably talk about the characters as well. So there's 10 Numberjacks, numbered 0 to 9. Fuck, I need a drink. The even numbers are all male, the odd numbers are all female. Pretty easy to follow. The Numberjacks can be split into 3 further groups. You've got 0, 1, and 2 who are like the kids of the group. They don't really go out on missions, but sometimes they can just go out by themselves to cause a little bit of mischief, and our main numbers have to deal with that. Number 1 was also the subject of that very weird bee-nose meme from about 2019. Jesus Christ, 2019 was 6 years ago now. And COVID was nearly 5 years ago. Then you've got our main characters, numbers 3, 4, 5, and 6. I don't know why the show opted for them to be our leads. I think it's just because they're the middle 4 numbers. Anyway, these are the only 4 characters who appear in every episode, and they're the ones who oversee the missions that they go on, both out on location and back in the headquarters. There is one main character I want to highlight in particular, and that is number 4. I think it's pretty safe to say that 4, hands down the best character in the show. Definitely my favorite as a kid, and still my favorite now when I was watching episodes to get ready for this video. I'll probably make a YouTube short in conjunction with this video breaking down as to why 4 is the best character. But yeah, the other 3, 5, and 6, not really worth talking about, except 3. She's the annoying, like, little sister type. She hangs around with 4 a lot, which kind of makes sense. He's really mature, calm, and laid back, except when he's under pressure, and she's just this hyperactive ball of energy, and it's quite a good character pairing.
Well, it's hard for me, because I haven't got a very big head.
That's because you haven't got a very big brain.
And then you've got 7, 8, and 9, and there's just, I don't know what to say about them. They're the old ones of the group, and they just sort of go off and do, and I quote here, their own missions. No idea what the hell that means, but maybe I don't want to know. But those were the heroes of our show. So now, let's get to what you've all been waiting for. Let's talk about the Meanies. So there's 5 Meanies in total, and I'll talk about them each in the order that they appeared, which actually works out quite well. I should also mention that each Meanie comes with its own little diss track, which basically just details what they are, who they are, what they do. And weirdly, these played a part in how scary I found these guys, just because of the melodies and the tunes associated with them. But let's just talk about them themselves. Let's just talk about the Meanies themselves now. You've got this guy, this budget-looking CGI Plants vs. Zombies pea shooter. This is the problem blob. So what the problem blob will do is that he just spurts out slime, and whatever the slime lands on just fucks up, goes completely wrong. There's not really much more to it than that. He also has an eye in his mouth, which was quite the design choice, if I do say so myself. Also, fun fact, he is the Meanie that has appeared the least times. Next up is the Shape Japer, and the Shape Japer has actually appeared more than any other Meanie, which is very strange considering I could have sworn it was one of the next 2 that we'll talk about. But the Shape Japer, she never really scared me. She just pops up, and as you can guess by her name, all of her problems are shape related in some way. I'm quite surprised that I didn't find the Shape Japer particularly scary as a kid, because she does have quite a scary looking face, but I think that just comes down to the fact that it looks like a child drew it. Okay, now we're getting into the really scary ones. This guy is the Puzzler, and the Puzzler, oh my god, he just... Okay, let's take a look at that face first of all. If this was the head of an actual person, keep your children away from him at all costs. The other thing that freaked me out about the Puzzler was that he has the ability to like blow these bubbles, and he can just trap Numberjacks inside them. So he was essentially a kidnapper. He actually held numbers for ransom quite a few times, and it was creepy. His facial design as well, the way he moves, the way his head just floats around. It's just so unnerving. And also, his glasses act as his eyelids and eyebrows. It might be quite difficult to explain, but if you watch this clip here, it makes complete sense. You can understand what I'm saying. And then you can get... This is a problem with all the Meanies, especially with the next one we'll talk about. But they get so close up to the camera, and their eyes get so big. Like, look at that. Can you imagine that face? Imagine that face staring at the door through you as you're taking a shot.
Here's the Puzzler.
To be fair to the Puzzler, he is a fair Meanie. So you solve his puzzles and he rectifies whatever the hell he's done, and then he fucks off for a bit until he feels like causing trouble again. So he's not unreasonable. I'll give him that. I also want to give credit to his voice actor, this guy Bob Golding, who looks like the Puzzler. Bob also voices the Problem Blob in this show. He's been in a lot of kids stuff as a voice actor. Most of you might actually recognize him as the voice of Milo and Max in the Tweenies, the latter of whom I'm also convinced is a PDF file. I mean, he dressed up as Jimmy Savile for once. For crying out loud.
Oh, welcome to the Tweenie Chart Countdown. Today you're going to hear all the Tweenies' favourite songs. And first on stage is young Milo. He's chosen this number.
Let's not watch that clip too much because it gets really uncomfortable really fast. Our penultimate Meanie is Spooky Spoon, and she just goes around mixing things up. She's just a big shit stirrer. Oh wait, that's why she's a spoon. Spooky is terrifying as fuck. Like I mentioned before, the thing with certain characters going right up to the camera and looking straight into it. No character does that more often, and no character is it more scary with than Spooky Spoon.
Ooh, what have we here? Numberjack 2, isn't it? Numberjack 5, actually.
Oh, sorry, I'm sure.
Have you been mixing things up again, Spooky Spoon?
Well, since you ask, yes! Yes! I've been mixing things up because that is what I do. I am Spooky Spoon, the greatest mixer of them all!
This whole conversation is just happening in front of this guy who's just trying to put his shoes on. Can he even see what's happening on the floor in front of him? Or are the Numberjacks one of those things that's like only visible to children? The point I'm trying to make is, if Spooky Spoon was an actual person, if she got this close up to the camera, you'd be able to see her pores. But those four have nothing on this next guy. The final boss of kids' TV villains is this man, the Numbertaker. This man, dressed all in white top hat, white trench coat, is the scariest thing I saw on TV as a child. Even scarier than that Bear and the Lion sketch from Teletubbies. Even scarier than the animatronic house that was in Step Inside. Okay, we don't need to see that one anymore either. But this guy, the Numbertaker, he was more terrifying than both of those. His debut was in the episode titled, For He's a Jolly Good Fellow. All the episode titles of the show, by the way, absolutely slap. Some of them are so funny and so clever. I won't go through them now, but you can look on the wiki. You've got access to a computer if you're watching this. Anyway, let's take a step back and watch his character introduction first of all.
You'd better be careful, for.
You're telling me?
Look!
It's the Numbertaker!
Let's just break down what we saw there. So 4 points him out. He's standing menacingly against a wall. And before we even find out his name, 3 screams in terror and he sucks up a number 4 through his little like vacuum cleaner hand thingy. And then we find out he's the Numbertaker. That's a lot of information to take in before we're officially introduced to this guy. I still remember watching this moment on TV as a kid. In the episode itself, the number is taking away the number 4 and a bunch of things relating to the number 4. So if there's like 4 of one object, he'll take that away. There's one moment where he even tries to find our number 4, who's gone out on the mission to try and find out what the hell's going wrong, and then he attempts to suck him up with his vacuum cleaner. I watched one of my favorite characters nearly die, get kidnapped right in front of my face. And that was the moment that I screamed in terror, I turned the TV off, and I didn't turn it back on until I knew the show was over. This moment haunted me for about 5, maybe 6 years, until I was brave enough to watch the episode in full on YouTube. I never saw it in full until I actually sat down on YouTube to watch it again. Without question though, the most scary thing about the Numbertaker was that he was the only live action villain. There are live action like extras, and the kid agents are live action as well, but the Numbertaker being live action stuck with me. It was like, all of these other guys, they're CGI, they're not real. But then you've got this very real, actually real guy dressed completely like he does look like he's going to the Met Gala, to be fair, but it's a creepy look that just scared me. And there was this very real possibility that he could kidnap me. And to watch him nearly kill my favorite character scarred me. The scar's healed by now because I'm an adult and I look at this and I think, oh, it was dumb. This was just a dumb fever dream. But it wasn't that at the time. It was this poorly animated, visually terrifying show that was actually approved for kids. They showed this on kids' TV in the mid-2000s, characters getting kidnapped and nearly killed. And this scene here broke me. I genuinely had nightmares about this guy for a very, very long time. Imagining that I was just walking down the street with my family and he would just be standing there menacingly on the opposite side of the road, but only I could see him. The parents couldn't see him. And he just got closer and closer to me every time until there's this one shot in his music video where he stares right down at the camera with a menacing frown. And I was imagining him looking at me that way, but no one else could see. And before I know, I was sucked up his little vacuum cleaner. But that's the mark of a good villain, I suppose. But maybe just tone it down next time. people behind Numberjacks, you know. I will say though, the Numbertaker's actor, Ross Mullen, this man has got range for days. He played a White Walker in Game of Thrones. There he is there. But the other character he played, now you've probably not thought about this character or seen this character for maybe about 15 years, but you'll recognize him again now if you grew up in 2000s Britain like I did. This guy, Ross Mullen, who played the terrifying, trauma-inducing white trench coat, white top hat man of your childhood that haunted you, also played this guy here.
Hello, it's me, Neb the Bear, from Smile and Bear Behaving Badly. Love you, Anne. Whitened.
You know that photo that says post 2 photos of the same actor in 2 different roles? Well, no actor's range will ever top this range here. No one. And that's why the Numberjacks, and mostly the Numbertaker, just scared the shit out of me as a kid. I want to say a couple of things. The first one is thank you. Thank you so much for the support on the Mixels video. As I'm recording this video, the Mixels video is on 10,000 views, and I have 10 times as many subscribers as I did when I first posted that video. So thank you. And some of your comments on that video were really touching as well. I really appreciate it. I'm still sort of finding my footing with the channel. I have no certain type of videos that I want to do other than, like I said, just videos on my interests. Other things I want to talk about are more British TV, more kids shows. I want to talk about Wallace and Gromit at some point, and I definitely want to talk about Taskmaster at some point as well. I also want to talk about some Nintendo games like the Mario series, maybe some Zelda. I want to dabble into those as well, some movies. Again, it's all a bit up in the air. The other thing that I want to talk about is Eurovision. I am a huge Eurovision fan, and I want to talk about that at some point as well. I don't know in what form. The contest is coming up this year. Maybe I will rank all the songs that are featured in this year's contest. We'll just have to see. Only time will tell. And yeah, I've been amazing. You've been amazing. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.